GTA 4, we're doing the side missions. Brucie's Cars, 6 through 10, AA gamer for life. Okay, so we got the first 5 cars down. You go to the cafe, look for your emails.
Nico, I hope you've come back because of me, not just these stupid computers.
It's great
A
to
little
see you,
comment to the girl that always likes to see you. Alright, so we're going to get the Sabre GT. In the last video, I mentioned the way some of the cars throughout the games, the names are the same, but the cars look totally different. But the Sabre looks the same. It's the same it looked in San Andreas, and it looks the same in this game. Okay. Pop a couple guys, get in the car, take it to Brucie's lockup. It's no question it's a nice looking muscle car. Unfortunately, it doesn't handle all that great, but what are you going to do? Grand Theft 4, they definitely geared some of the things differently. You know, like jacking the cars for Brucey through the email, that was cool and all that. And then later in the game, when Stevie texts you the cars that he wants, and after you get all 30 cars, he sends you a text saying that you continue to bring cars. I never actually did it, so I can't say for sure whether or not any of the 30 cars that you found you can just take to his lockup again. The only downside is those cars are pretty much towards the end of the game, so as you're driving home, you know, to keep bringing him cars, it just doesn't make any sense. Money is not really an issue by that time of the game, so you know, if you're at that point where you got all 30 cars done, you're probably close to the end, so it really wouldn't make any sense to keep bringing cars. I mean, if I found something and I'm like, oh yeah, it's one of his cars, and I was in the area, I might, you know, bring it there. But once you get to the end mission, you're pretty much done. But depending on your style of gaming, you know, like I'm kind of gamer, I like to get all the side crap done and then do the story stuff at the end, you know. So when I was doing Stevie's text cars, I was also wrapping up the Assassinations, and then out there in Albany, the Most Wanted, and probably some street crimes as well, but I was probably done with those by that time. But in San Andreas, there was a lot of asset type of things that you could do that earned you money, and the couriers, the trucking, you had that valet thing, the quarry. I mean, they all turned into assets that made money, but the only downside was that you had to go to those places to collect the money. You know, where it was like Saints Row or something like that, where it was automatically put into your safe houses in a safe or something to that effect. Would have been a lot better. I mean, for instance, the quarry turned into an asset, but I cannot think of ever going back there to collect that money. I mean, once you've done those 9 missions, as you're zinging by it on the expressway, the thought of swinging up there to collect the 8 or 7,000 or whatever it was just never really popped into my mind. And then the trucking company as well, it turns into an asset, and I don't know, you're just not by it enough to ever really swing through there to pick up the money. And then the valet parking, although you're in that area a lot, and just the time to swing through there to pick up the money, it just never really seemed to happen. And then once you get out to Los Angeles and you do the courier mission out there, it unlocks the asset. Can't think of a time I ever went back to that burger shot or whatever it was to collect the money. So that stuff was cool for sure, but should have geared it a little differently as far as collecting the money. Okay, in Grand Theft 4, the vigilantes were done differently compared to the previous games like Vice City and San Andreas, where you got in a law enforcement vehicle and you activated the vigilante and you went around, shooting cars up, and then it was, one car with one guy, and you got up to, one car with 4 guys, and then 2 cars with 5 guys, and then so on and so forth. You had to get to level 12 to get your armor upgrade. Okay, and in Grand Theft 4 they did all that a little differently, where you had street crimes, and I got full videos and all that, but it just there was a lot of repetitive kind of things, and the street crimes, when you got from like 13 or 14 up to 20, oh, that hurts every time. It kind of got a little bit on the lame side. I'm like, all right, I just want to get 20, get my achievement. I am so done with this. One, you didn't make any money like you did in the previous games. If you decided to run around and collect the money that was off the dead that you killed, that was about the only money that you made. The only reason why I was doing it was to get my achievement. It was just real annoying as you're trying to do street crimes. The police you get a wanted level, true. When you completed it, it dropped it, but it was still a pain in the ass.
It's a fun little bike.
I'd like to see you try and take one of my cars, NB. Not a fucking chance, baby.
Yeah, Brucie. If you want another thing, tell me.
Ah, it's you. If I would have known you were coming, I would have put some makeup on.
You don't need to wear makeup, Alejandro.
It's always a pleasure to see you too, girl. Hope you're liking these videos. Appreciate the thumbs up and subscribing. And we're getting to the last part of Brucie's Cars here. All the side stuff lacked a lot of depth. The assassinations, go kill the target, a guy in a car, and then, a lot of the street crimes were that way as well, and the most wanted.
Bullshit. Suck it up and stay down.
Hit me with a bat. Not taking that bike, dude. right in the back. Upside is that this bike is close to Brucie's lockup. You know, the Assassinations, there was nothing about, you know, any kind of stealth, sneaking up, you know, it definitely wasn't like Hitman using disguises or anything like that. Um, it's just a lot of the same stuff, you know, no matter how you slice it.
I put the PCJ 600 in the lockup now. It's all good.
Shit, Nico. Your car's killed, and my body, people are gonna be petrified of us.
That's one way of putting it, Brucie. Tell me if you want something else.
You know, there've been, you know, street crimes where, you know, you had to acquire a policeman's uniform and you had to have that on to do the street crimes or anything like that. And while you had it on, maybe the police were immune to you, or they just ignored you, or just gave you the space that you needed to do the job. There was many times where, you know, it'd be like, go stop the gang activity or whatever. You roll up in there and there's just cops everywhere, and you can't shoot them without the cops shooting you, and it turns into a big thing. It's just, I don't know, it just seemed retarded in some ways, and it was very repetitive and the same.
Check dude out. Quit playing and you wanna get ran up on?
Get out of that car.
Be a wise guy. Shit. I don't think you need this anymore. Take what you want.
For instance, that I'm working on the Ballad of Gay Tony, and like the Lost and Damned had gang wars that you had to do out throughout the city, and as you progress through them, they got harder, and they did for sure. You'd be in a gang war, then all of a sudden, you know, trucks come up and a whole bunch of enemies popped out, and they'd be popping off grenade launchers at you and that kind of thing, and that's the way it should be. But in the Ballad of Gay Tony, they had the drug wars, and I don't know, it was kind of messed up, man. You got these two, Armando and Hernando, they're there, and they can't die, but they pretty much just, they just fuck up your game. They're just there. They get in the way. There's zero help to you. There's times where after you've collected the stash or stole the drugs, the money, whatever, and then as you're leaving, you get enemies that chase you down. And I don't know, they just don't seem to be very helpful to you. And then you go hijack a helicopter, and as you're hijacking a helicopter, enemy helicopters are chasing you down, shooting you. Well, you're in a regular helicopter. You're not in an attack helicopter with weapons.
I trucked that PMP 600 down to the lockup, man.
Well done, my friend. Well done.
All right then, man. Tell me if there's something else you want.
So you have to drive or fly that helicopter, basically hoping that there's enough damage, you know, that the thing doesn't get damaged to where you get to your destination. I mean, many times it'd be like, will you two shoot back at this helicopter, please? And I'm basically just taking hits all the way to the marker, and the thing's beeping by the time I get there. But I don't know, it just seemed lame to me. Like, when you're on the ground, at least you can throw stickies or shoot back or whatever, you know. But when you're flying a helicopter, you can't do nothing. And the other two will sometimes shoot back or whatever, but I don't know. Most of the time, they're just a pain in the ass. And I would give anything if you was sort of like Nico, where Jacob gives you a job and you're by yourself and that kind of thing. These guys, they're just a real pain in the ass. You go up into a hot zone, you pull your car up so you can use it for cover, and then these guys just walk in front of your shooting, you know. You're like, all right, that was smart. Sort of like chasing after that Patriot. Okay, what'll happen is that if they get damaged to the point they just get hospitalized, so they can't die. But many times I wish I could have just blown the car up and sent them off to the hospital, and then just dealt with this thing without them, because they're just in the way. I mean, they don't help at all. Getting to the end of 50 drug wars, I was very happy. And they keep going, just like the gang wars in Lost and Damned. But after a certain point, you're like, I'm done with that, man. There was a drug war. I was gonna say it's in the late 40s. I think it was like 47, 48. And I kept getting wasted, man. I was like, I loved it, man. Just like, all right, I gotta find a different way. But it just gets back to the thing where, they needed to put the drug wars in an area where you were just dealing with the rival gangs, and then or you were dealing with a wanted level or a high wanted level from the police. But when they did both to you, it was just rough. So this one stash that you had to steal was like in a city block, in the back alleys where there was a bunch of fences, and it was back there. So as you were trying to get back there, the enemies kept crisscrossing around, flanking you, and you're like, oh, all right. And then on top of that, multiple cars would come out on the street for you. And you're like, all right, I'll deal with all that. Okay, so that takes care of our 10 cars. And then you're dealing with all that, and then you're getting a 2-3 wanted level on top of that. So now you got cops on your case as well. You're I don't know. After a point, you're just like, all right, I'm kind of sick of these drug wars.
The Patriot got liberated from its temporary owners. It's in the lockup now, man.
Spot the genetically
Okay, so 10 of the cars.
Thanks, Brucie. Let me know if there's
We are
something
genetically
else you need.
superior. Make Brucie happy. Got our achievement. Didn't make all that much money, but it was enough. And that takes care of Brucie's cars. We'll see you on the next set of side missions. AA Gamer for Life.